Michael Green and Jacob Bear shining at the Senior Bowl. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Doing it with Natural Light this morning, and you'll get a quick turnaround as we'll recap tonight's ball games. Well, tonight for Friday's episode. We will talk about the basketball. ODU trips up App State, and South Alabama looks to get back on track, as well as we'll preview tonight's basketball games as well. But only two Sunbelt players at the Senior Bowl, and both, I guess, late invitees. Michael Green, not invited, couldn't be until he declared for the draft. But I did say as soon as he declared for the draft, I quote tweeted him, invited to the Senior Bowl in 3, 2, 1. Took a little bit, but he did get invited. And Jacob Bear was a really late draftee. First of all, Michael Green, the defensive end, led the nation in sacks with 17. Defensive end for Marshall. And then Jacob Bear, the center from Arkansas State. He wasn't invited till about, was it like a week before? So he was a really late invitee. But both of them are doing very well. You don't get a whole lot of opportunities. And sad to say, and it is the case, the practices are really what's important. And you practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There is no practice on a Friday. So half the guys practice in the morning, and then the other half practice in the afternoon. And then the other part is film study. And then the other part is interviews. And unfortunately, we've already found out, a handful of guys are not playing in the game, and that happens. Supposed to not happen. I thought Jim Nagy, executive director, had pointed out that you're not allowed to do that, but I don't know how that cannot be avoided. Troy Amos is not going to play, the corner who started his career from the Cajuns, went to Alabama, and now at Ole Miss, and apparently Michael Green is not playing in the game as well. Michael Green had one of the great reps. He bowled over Josh Connerly, supposed to be a first-round tackle, and caught him on his heels and bowled him right over. So he got his highlight rep. Michael Green was expected to be a late first-round pick, maybe a second-round pick, and he's making his way up. Jacob Bear, I don't know. It looks like from a quick Google search, I don't know if he's going to be drafted, which you get into those later rounds, like 6th or 7th round, you may not want to get drafted because then you can pick where you want to go instead of you get stuck on a team where you may not play. So we'll see what happens there. As far as Michael Green is considered, late in the season, mocks had him like going to Buffalo, which would be great because he'd be a late round pick. Maybe learn, I don't know how much longer Von Miller's going to play, but play right behind Von Miller, maybe spell him. Not a lot expected. Just come in and rush the passer is exactly what Buffalo needs. And so you get that first round pick, you get that 5th year guaranteed. That's good and bad. But you're picked late, so the money is not great, but you do get that 5th year guarantee. Okay, so that's good and bad. Obviously, there's a huge difference between being picked in, I guess, on 28th or 29th, or I guess 30th, and where the flip of the coin is between them and Washington. I guess they would be picked. Did they have a better record than Washington? I don't know. Obviously, 31 and 32 is going to be the Eagles and Kansas City. But there's a huge difference in money between 30 and 20, and you get in the top 15 as well, compared to, say, it's almost better financially if you play over your contract to get picked 33rd or 34th, like say a Michael Thomas with the Saints, or even Alvin Kamara, who went a 3rd-round pick, because you get that second contract a year earlier instead of after your 4th, heading into your 4th year, and you get that 5th year guaranteed. You get that second contract heading into your 3rd year is when you get that. If you're that superstar, right? They don't wait. You get that contract sooner. All right. That's when those guys negotiate the contract. Those quarterbacks or those big time wide receivers, they usually don't head into those final years of their contract waiting for that contract. It's usually the season before. And so that's when they get those contracts. And so, whereas Michael Green, if he's moving up the draft board, we're talking millions of dollars. Go look it up. The difference between the 15th pick and the 30th pick. That is, I'm not sure generational money, but certainly life-altering money. Just the difference between the 15th pick and the 30th pick. The generational money usually comes the second contract. All right. Whereas Jacob Bear could be the difference in this week. The difference could be not getting drafted to maybe a day 2. What is the day 2? Let's see here. NFL second round. NFL day 2 draft. Let's see here. It's just rounds 2 and 3. So maybe not. Okay. So maybe not. That'd be tough. All right. I don't think he's going to be that. So he would probably be, 5th, 6th, or 7th. But you all of a sudden get in that, 4th or 5th round. That may be worth it, because all of a sudden, you get to be a backup center. I mean, look what the Eagles did. They were going back and forth. Or was it was Washington? No, it was the Eagles. The Eagles were going back and forth in the NFC Championship game. So, if you can be a backup center, you're going to play. Plus, if you're versatile enough to play different positions on that offensive line, then, how often does an offensive line go, injury-free during a season? All right. And obviously, I don't know if you go in pros, you probably don't go 10 deep. Whereas in college, you probably have, a 2-deep offensive line. You probably have a backup left and right tackle, 2 backup guards and a backup center. In the pros, you can't have that. You only have a 53-man roster and 45 guys playing. So, the backup left guard is probably the backup right guard on game day. So you can only carry so much. So if Jacob Bear is versatile enough that he can play other offensive line positions, he could find himself getting drafted higher in. Whereas Michael Green is moving up that draft board, making millions and millions of dollars. And the Sun Belt just looks better and better. Those guys making their way. All right. So we shall see how that works out. Obviously, we got to wait a little bit more. Well, February, March. It's in the end of April, right? So we got 3 full months before the NFL draft, and I love all the draft talk. Saints still looking for a head coach. Jeez, Saints are still looking for a head coach. So a long way until that, and obviously the Senior Bowl is not until Saturday. So we'll see how all that works out. They have 8 quarterbacks. It's going to be interesting to see on how all that works out. And obviously, close to me, Jack Besh is playing in the game. He was in Lafayette, Louisiana. I saw him play high school, and I'm sure all of you know by now, his brother Tiger saw him play as well in high school. He was unfortunately caught in that attack on New Year's Eve. Actually saved the life of a young woman, pushing her out of the way, and he took the bullet. So Jack is balling out in the Senior Bowl, and that's really good to see. It's impressive that he's there and playing well. So that is good stuff. Has nothing to do with the Sun Belt, but I think that's really cool to see. Someone that I saw play high school football and looks like he's heading to the pros. So pretty cool. All right, let's talk some Sunbelt basketball when we get back. How about ODU? Maybe they play better on the road. Who knew? We'll talk about them tripping up App State when I come back after I tell you about Game Time. Attending NFL playoff games is an experience like no other. The energy, the excitement, and connection with other fans are unmatched. I remember the thrill of seeing my favorite team clinch a playoff win live. It's a memory I'll never forget. This year, Game Time makes it even easier to create those unforgettable moments with their new feature, Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats so you can focus on what matters, being there. I use Game Time Picks to grab tickets for, remember, that Louisville, Carolina basketball game, New Year's Day. And it was really easy to do so. We had great tickets, and Game Time made it super, super easy. I found a super deal that gave me incredible value for amazing seats, and I could even preview the view from my spot before buy. The all-in pricing is a game changer. No surprise fees at checkout. Plus, knowing my tickets are backed by the Game Time guarantee gave me complete peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Could be. It's not, but it could be. If you're listening, I have a Jim Beam coffee cup. It says it could be bourbon. Probably should be, as it's a day off, but it is. I swear it's just coffee. Not even creamer in the coffee, just coffee. I am down 16 pounds since Thanksgiving. That's not bad. 2 months. All right. How about the surprise of all surprises? I was actually wrapping up the first season of Night Agent, and so someone messaged me. We were flat, and I was afraid of that. And App State loses to Old Dominion. Old Dominion goes into lovely Boone, North Carolina, and takes down App State. So I looked at it, and 78-77. And then App State actually jumped out to a rather big lead. Not a whole lot of scoring to begin with. I mean, it was 4-0 through like 3 minutes of the game. It was 7-2 App State. Miles Tate made a three-pointer with 16:48 to go, 7-2 App State. App State actually led 13-4 6 minutes into the game. It was 16-4 on a Michael Marcus Jr. three, like 12 and a half minutes into the game. That's 12-point lead. You can't tell me that App State came out flat. They did not come out flat. And, if I had turned this on and it's 16-4 at 12:43 to go, and I've seen ODU having lost 3 of their last 4, and 3 of those games are at home, and they're playing App State, who's won 4 of their last 5 and only lost at Arkansas State, I'd say this game is over. And yet, ODU caught up, only down 5 at half, 38-33. And I hadn't gone through it. ODU shoots 49% in this game. That's crazy because that's not an App State game, right? App State gives up like 60 points a game. Yeah, 63 points a game. And ODU scored 79. And App actually hits a 3 at the end to make it the 1-point ball game. And this game was actually back and forth, which is pretty cool. All right. This is a heck of a basketball game in the second half. Robert Davis quickly makes it a three to open up the second half, making it 38-36 and back and forth all second half. I caught grief because someone called me out for saying, and I thought it's hard to win on the road. Someone told him that it's hard to win on the road, which it is. So I got nothing in this one outside of the fact maybe ODU plays better on the road. Maybe they put too much pressure on themselves to win at home because, let's face it, they stink at home. They do not play well at home. They lost to Southern Miss at home. They played a stinker of a game against Arkansas State at home. They beat the Cajuns on the road. They beat South Alabama on the road. They lost to App State at home. They lost to Georgia Southern at home. They lost to James Madison at home. They did hammer Coastal at home. But they go on the road to beat App State. They're going on the road to take on James Madison. Go figure, right? I mean, how do you figure that with ODU? So that's a nutty, that is a nutty record for Old Dominion, but good on them. They are 6-4. That's huge because they are not that far away from getting a top 4 seed, and not great for App State to drop one like that when you're losing at home. Losing at Arkansas State, no shame on that, but you can't lose like a ball game like that at home. That is going to hurt you. Quickly, the box score. Let's see here. Sean Dura-Gordon, 25 points and 12 rebounds. That'll work. And Robert Davis Jr., 19 points on 4-6 3-point shooting. Miles Tate, a Miles Tate ball game, 23 points, 8 assists. Let's see here. Alonzo Dodd had 16 points. And Jaleel Boburn had 14. CJ Huntley had an off-ball game, scoring 8 points, 10 rebounds. But again, App State doesn't score a lot. So they couldn't stop Old Dominion. And really, it's just those two guys. It really is just Dura-Gordon and Robert Davis. That was the thing with them beating South Alabama. It's just those two guys, and they can't be stopped. That's the funny part. So good job by ODU. They improved to 6-4, and App State drops to 6-4. Remember, those two teams have split. All right. Elsewhere, only one other ball game in the Sun Belt on Wednesday, and that was, we can get back to it here. Arkansas State actually had to come back. They were way down. Southern Miss actually jumped out to a pretty big lead in this one. Maybe Arkansas State did take this one for granted. A little bit of a kind of a letdown game on the road. And they may have been down. Did someone say they were down by 16 at one point in time? Let me see here. Thought they were down a little bit. No, maybe not. Maybe not. They were down in the first half, but they weren't down by that much. I saw 8. I see 8 in the first half. Okay. Arkansas State does win at 81-68. They were down by 4 at the end of the first half. They blow them out in the second half. That's going to happen. They had some big wins at home, including the one over App State on national TV. You go on the road, Southern Miss is going to be all jacked up. They play tough at home, and then Arkansas State took control in the second half because everyone's going to be gunning for Arkansas State, and you certainly know that. Taryn Todd, not good from 3, but overall 10 of 22 shooting, 25 points. That's good. Joseph Pinion, 13 points. 3 of 6 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Good shooting from the free throw line from Arkansas State. Maybe the difference in the ball game. Actually, both teams shot well from the free throw line. 19 out of 25 for Arkansas State. Terrence Ford Jr., 11 points. Kobe Julian, only 1 of 8 from the floor. He struggled. 0 of 3 from 3, only 4 points. Isaiah Nelson had 10 points and 8 rebounds. Rashad Marshall had 10 points and 9 rebounds off the bench in 19 minutes. That is what we call efficient. For Southern Miss, Deontay Gordon had 22 points and 10 rebounds, and Denaje Harris had a Denaje Harris ball game, 16 points and 11 rebounds. Quickly checking out the standings before we preview tonight's ball games. Arkansas State now with a 1.5 lead before Thursday night's action over South Alabama, Troy, and Marshall, who will all play tonight. South Alabama, Troy, and Marshall 6-3 to Arkansas State's 8-2. At worst, they will have a 1-game lead over all those teams. App State and Old Dominion are 6-4. James Madison, Texas State are 5-4. Georgia Southern, the Cajuns 4-5. Southern Miss 4-6. Georgia State 3-6. Coastal and Monroe are down to 1-8. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We will preview tonight's ball games as South Alabama looks to get back on track after losing a couple in a row. We'll do that right after this. All right, over 1,850 subscribers. You guys are the best. We are very close to softball. Cajuns actually, were they picked third? They have dominated. Cajuns fans are taking it as disrespectful. All their talent, not all of it, but most of it left. So I think they would have been a top 10 team if they all stayed, but they're not even preseason ranked in the top 25. And I don't know the last time that happened. So it could be a long season. I wouldn't say a long season. Not quite as per usual for Cajun softball. Meanwhile, was Troy? Or maybe Southern Miss. I don't know if there was a top, it's either Troy or Southern Miss in the top 25 for Sunbelt. But I think they're all in like the top 30, top 35. Cajuns are playing a bunch on their schedule in the top 20 to 25. And baseball is right around the corner. And I think it's going to be thrilling. I think Sunbelt baseball is going to be right there again. And we'll see who can step up. A lot of turnover from the Cajuns as well, but they do have some young talent, and we'll see. They just need more pitching is what they need. They need, unfortunately, when you're in the Sunbelt, to get to that super regional, you kind of need 2 Friday night starters. You do. And what I saw last year, you need to rest them. You do. You can't. You need to have these guys on an innings count, and you can't have them go. You just can't have them go. You got to make sure they're rested and raring for May and June. No, that's what I would say. And that would go for everybody, for Southern Miss, you got it, and you got to protect them in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. If you're planning on getting it to that second weekend and potentially to Omaha, those weekend series in March and April don't matter. That extra inning is going to matter later on. That's what I would say. So we got all of that. Of course, we got spring ball coming up as well. Teams are announcing their games, still trying to get those coaches on. So we shall see. They certainly have time to go to the Senior Bowl to show their faces there. You would think they'd have 30 minutes to join me on this. All right, we will be back. We'll preview tonight's action in the Sun Belt right after this. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, your teams every day. I still haven't put the bourbon in the coffee. One of the perks at my place of employment, we're allowed to have 1 ounce per day. we can taste our product. I haven't really done that. Done it a little bit. And we are doing that in training. Can you imagine that? Yes, you get to taste the product as we learn about it. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. Nonetheless. Okay. So we went over the 2 ball games that happened on Wednesday. Let's go over what is happening on tonight's action. South Alabama all of a sudden finds themselves in a little funk, and their offense has gone in the tank despite losing badly on Monday and being an 11.5-point favorite and losing. South Alabama is a 15.5-point favorite tonight. Go figure. We'll see if they bounce back. I presume South Alabama is going to win this ball game. I certainly wouldn't take that 15.5-point spread. I wouldn't touch that. They may cover, but I wouldn't touch that. South Alabama's got to get more efficient. Again, their offense has just disappeared in the last few ball games. In a big way. They scored 66 against Monroe. They scored 55 against Troy. They scored 64 against Troy in a win, right? So usually, again, they are like, I don't know if they got a loss when they've scored 70, and yet that's what they got to do. So that is that's a problem. They need to get going. And what we saw the other night against Monroe, they don't have a hurry-up offense. They do such a good job of moving the ball and driving to the hoop and making the extra pass. They take all 30 seconds of that shot clock. They can't do a 2 or 3 pass offense and get the open look. And even when they have the open look, they're still looking to use the clock. So they did not make the adjustment, nor did they make the adjustment to man-to-man. I get it that they don't have the size for man-to-man. I'm not asking anybody to play man-to-man for 40 minutes. But if I need the ball back, I need to trap, and let's play something different. It does not matter if I lose by 10 or 15. But if I need to change something up, I need to cover them out there by 25 feet. I don't need to foul them, but I need to change things up. So if they start hitting 25-footers again, I'm sorry, I got to go out there and cover them. Not if they hit 1 or 2, but if they start hitting 3 or 4, let them go by me and see what happens. So South Alabama has ULM tonight in a rematch. See if they can get. It's not only their defense that took a hit, didn't take a hit against Troy so much as their offense did against Troy. Marshall back in action. All of a sudden, Marshall is playing well, right? They've won 3 in a row and 4 in a 5. They're trying to get a top 4 seed. They're hosting Georgia State, right? No reason that you would think they wouldn't win this ball game. They're an 11.5-point favorite. I like that. Who knows which Georgia State is going to show up because they don't play very good defense. They give up a bunch of points. They give up 80 points a ball game. That is not very good defense. Have these teams already played the season yet? Let's see here. They have, in fact, just a couple of games ago. And Marshall already beat Georgia State 92-79. That's right where that line is, just about. I would take and that was at Georgia State. I will take Marshall in this one to cover. Troy taking on Georgia Southern. Big line, 11.5. Let's see. That's about the difference in the points against. Troy scores 73. Georgia Southern gives up 77, but Troy only allows 65. So it'll be interesting. I presume Troy will win this ball game. I still haven't figured out Georgia Southern either. I know they've come a long way from last year, but they have not found any consistency lately. They did lose to Marshall in a good ball game, 71-67. That was after winning 3 in a row, and that was after losing 3 in a row. So it's kind of been up and down for Georgia Southern throughout the season. Right? I will go with a Troy winning at home tonight. Probably would stay away from that line. I'm getting big lines here now. I will take James Madison at home more because against Coastal. I'm not, again, 12.5 with James Madison. Does James Madison blow out anybody? They did blow out Old Dominion. They don't blow out anybody. 12.5 is a lot. Coastal Carolina is not very good, though. That's the only problem. Certainly James Madison's going to win this basketball game, one would think. It is a 12.5-point line. James Madison 5-4. Could they sneak into a top 4 seed? Got their work cut out for them. Coastal Carolina's 1-8. James Madison's going to win this basketball game, and I would think relatively easily. I'm just not sure if they cover the 12.5. I would take the 12.5 here. Texas State hosting the Cajuns. I think this was a blowout like last week, right? It was 89-74, 15-point ball game. Texas State's just pretty good, and the Cajuns are not. So, although the records are somewhat similar, Texas State 5-4, Cajuns are 4-5. Again, Cajuns need to figure out what they are doing NIL-wise with the football program, but mostly with their basketball program as well, and their baseball program, for that fact of the matter. You're either in it or you're not. And then if you're not, expectations need to be adjusted. And that's what it is. All right. That's that episode. We'll be back probably in the same shirt. So don't be surprised if the hair looks just as good and it's the same shirt for Friday's episode, although we'll have the lights on. It won't be El Natural for tomorrow's episode. We will recap. Are these on Eastern time zone? Let me see what we got here for these ball games. It just matters when I get to go to bed. No, South Alabama. It's at South Alabama. 8, 7, 7, 7, and 8 o'clock. So that's okay. Maybe I'll take a nap today. We're just not that busy. We're not that busy. It's a slow day. But I get up early. Nonetheless, thanks very much for tuning in. We will keep you abreast what's going on. And we'll see if we recap again. I presume Jacob Bear is still playing in the Senior Bowl. Michael Green reports have it that he is not. He had a good week of practice, which is still going on. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'll be back on Friday to recap Thursday night's basketball. Have a great day, everybody.